Hey, Coach. Congratulations on making it to the College Cup. I guess kind of from your perspective, how did you kind of see your team handle the weight of the occasion and the performance today?
I thought they played really well. Um, you know, I wouldn't say it was like the complete game of the year, but I thought we were really good in all aspects, and we were dangerous not only from the run of play but also in transition. And I thought we held them to really limited chances. And they're an explosive team going forward. In particular, their number 10, JC, is. I talked to a lot of coaches that played this team, and they said that's the best attacker in college soccer. And I thought our defense collectively was fantastic to make it hard for him. He still had some moments, but he was certainly not the difference in the game.
Hey Todd, congrats on the College Cup. I know you always talk about finding the right time to peak in the season, and it feels like you guys are right now. First of all, do you feel that way, and how much more do you think this team can do to go even further? I guess.
I feel really good. We are. I mean, you want this to happen, and even when a team is, take maybe our 18 team, which was, man, we were really good in 17. We turned most of those players. You didn't want to turn up the volume too quick or let the faucet out because you didn't want them to be peaking a little bit too early. And that's hard to manage that. This group, there were a lot more questions that we had coming into the year, and we just solved it by the schedule and by trial and by experience. And you see what's happening now. Some of the players that maybe were inconsistent in the first quarter or third of the year are now really putting in consistent shifts, and that still starts with our back line, our keeper, our midfield. Those guys have really come together, and there's experience in that group, but there's also some new players, and they've done a great job. And then we've just gotten better offensively, kind of each game in different areas.
Coach Malone been a guy that's been in the program for a while. What's been the most rewarding part of seeing him grow and develop, and how have you kind of just seen the evolution of his game from the time he got to IU?
It's been great. He's been obviously a key player. He played good minutes as a freshman and in our championship run, and so we expected him to be an impactful player. And I think what's the coolest thing about Malone is his ability to help us in so many different areas of the field. As you've seen, he's played right back. He's played both wings. He's played centrally up high where he's playing now. His versatility, we say Brett Beebe is kind of like the Swiss Army knife of the back line. He's that, and maybe the whole team. And for him to get a goal, which has been tough, he's had a couple really close, I call more unfortunate moments. A post or keeper makes a great save, and he needed that. So I mean, of two guys that really needed goals that were playing well were Malone and Sammy, and that's going to propel us to this next game even more so. So I'm really excited about those two getting those goals. Great goals too. Great goals.
Just on the goal, how did you kind of see him take that opportunity?
I'm sorry, what was that again, Jack?
Just on Malone's opportunity or the goal he took. What did you kind of see from that?
Yeah, I mean, the goal or just the opportunity in general?
The goal.
Yeah. I mean, he's so strong, is able to turn guys so quickly when he gets, you kind of on his hip. And then, I told him after the game, I go, that must have felt good when left your foot. Like, as a player, like when it's just clean, like it's just clean. And he was like, yeah, I didn't even look up, which you're not. I mean, if you have good technique, you should just keep your head steady, watch it strike the foot and land your striking foot and let the celebration happen after. And he's like, that's exactly what happened. Because I didn't see it go in until really it was in the back of the net. And I said, man, we all saw it and we loved it. And he's like, yeah, it felt pretty good.
Hey, Coach, sorry I'm a little dark here. I'm in a parking lot here in Greensboro, but I just wanted to ask you the celebration after, to have those IU fans and to be able to go over to them and celebrate. I heard Sam shout, "We're going to Cary." What was it like to go over and celebrate with the family in that whole IU section, even though you were on the road?
It was a great crowd tonight. I want to commend Greensboro. Obviously had a great season, and it's a really, really good team we played, deserving to be in this round. And they had a great crowd. But man, the Hoosiers travel. I mean, we had fans from 2 hours away to obviously our families that are here, and they came out in full force. It was loud. It was great. And they were right above us. The guys felt that energy, and the stadium did have a little bit of a a good feel to it because they are pretty close to you. I mean, they're basically on top of the bench, the stadium. So I want to thank everyone that came out with the red and white. It was fantastic, and we were celebrating with them. I said, "This is these moments are special, and man, we've been fortunate to do it a lot, but everyone is incredibly unique and special in its own way. And these guys need to enjoy that. I'm looking at the crowd and just look at the people, the joy they brought to all these people, and the thousands that are watching away, and the people that are part of this program in the 50th season. You don't understand how important this is, for our program and for IU fans. And it was just a good moment to be with the team and have them feel that.
Coach, I think you had described Sam as his personality, I guess, as someone who's engaging, has a lot of energy. I guess, could you just go into more depth of what his personality is like? And, are there any kind of moments or stories, I guess, that kind of speak to that?
Oh yeah, Sammy he's quick-witted. He's a really interesting young man in the sense that he's got a lot of different interests outside of soccer. I always say, Sammy, sometimes you got to think through what you're going to say first. He's very quick to jump into a conversation in a funny way. Sometimes he needs to, as we say, think of the filter for a moment. But he means so well. He's got like the biggest heart, and he wants everyone to do well. He's one of the selfless strikers I've ever coached. I mean, he would be as happy as other players scoring. He just wants to win and compete. He loves competing. And he loves to get his jersey dirty tonight. I mean, his jersey was just chock full of white. I mean, that kid was on the ground on some tough challenges. So I just love the kid. He brings such unique, true raw personality that is just genuine as it comes. And I love that.
Coach, congrats on the win again. You kind of talked about Patrick's growth from last year to this year a few days ago, but I guess just what have you seen in his response from that Rutgers loss, that mistake he had in these past few weeks that's maybe allowed him to feel more comfortable, confident on this stage going for those types of tackles that he had before that assist to Sam?
Pat's had a great year. He had a really good year as a freshman and just kind of was up and down a little bit, kind of hit the wall as we talked about. And this year he's putting it together. And he's his range is phenomenal. It's different. Make a national team example. It makes Brendan Aronson different. It makes Patty McDonald different. He covers ground like very few can. And he's got so many different good skill sets. He can pass. He can run with the ball. He's smart. He's got a vertical that a little guy gets up and challenges with the biggest. He's got great courage. And I was so happy for him. This is his hometown, as you guys know. And when his name got announced, I mean, it sounded as loud as the players for UNCG. I mean, he must have had 100, 200 people there, just, Patty McDonald fans and now new Hoosier fans. So this was special for him. This is his hometown. He lives just 5 minutes from the stadium. Obviously recruited to school, and he wanted to go to Indiana and be part of something really cool and special and big. And UNCG's done a really nice job. They're a good program, but he wanted a blue blood, and he's been fantastic for us.
Coach, you ended up switching Herb and Ryan in that second half on both wings. I guess, what was your thought process behind that, and how did you see that pan out?
It worked well. Their right back shot forward pretty aggressively, and we just didn't want Ryan that deep. And so we kind of why we shifted it. They kind of overload that right side and keeping Ryan. He's a good defender, but we just don't want Ryan connected that much to Brett defensively. Keeps him away from goal, and then their left back gets forward a little less, so we shifted him to the right. And I thought we rotated that well, so we could keep the energy to get up and down. So that's why we kept, and Tommy, I thought, as good as he is offensively, he defensively put a phenomenal shift in against the right back, the kid from Chicago. He's a very good player. So that was the main reason to kind of keep Witt up higher on the field.
Coach, we've talked about last week, the Sweet 16 hasn't been kind to you. On the other hand, this round, you're 5-0. You've never lost, including 2 road wins. There's some kind of mental hurdle you clear when you get to the Sweet 16. After the Sweet 16, we're not going to lose, and we're just going to make sure we win, because this has been your best round, unlike the last round. So,
I mean, the Elite Eight's been good to the program, no doubt. We've had a great. I mean, I don't know. We've been been at home for a decent amount of those. Obviously, that helps. But we've done on the road, and I don't think there's a unique thing to it, Aaron. Just besides that, I feel like our guys, when they get in these good pressure situations, have been prepared for it with the schedule. Like, get back to the schedule, the difficulty of what we put in front of them. So they're not intimidated. They're ready. They've seen quality that would be in front of them. They see different styles. So I think the program just helps the guys have that confidence in these big moments. And obviously, the 22 College Cups is just a remarkable number. And we talked about it with the team. And I don't talk a lot about historic numbers with the group in the moment, but man, that's a special number.
Coach, you talked about Sam's personality. How would you describe Maloon?
Maloon's a little more calculated with, he's different with his peers. I would call it that way. He holds back a little bit with us, although always so respectful and super responsive, but he doesn't quite let loose like Sammy does. Sammy, like, he never met a stranger. Maloon is much more, kind of guarded. I would say a more typical kind of teenager or college kid who might, look at a coach or an adult and say, hey, I gotta temper a little bit what I say. And where Sammy maybe doesn't have that filter with who he's with. So uniquely very different, but Maloon's quite a hoot. The guys love him. I guess he's, I've heard him do some funny things. He's got a great sense of humor. The guys love him. But yeah, the way he interacts around us is just a touch different than Sammy.
Todd, you mentioned understanding the significance of 22 College Cups, and this year the offseason you guys had some coaching changes with Tanner Jeremiah coming in. Just and you've kind of been through multiple coaching cycles. Kind of, has the message, I guess, ever changed, or what do you think allows you guys to just be so connected in the way you convey sort of the excellence you guys want for the program?
Can you repeat that last part? I'm sorry, Jerry.
Yeah. Just with kind of going through the coaching staff change and whatnot, but still being able to have the same message of the excellence you guys expect. Just what do you think has allowed you guys to do that just so consistently through the years?
The program, I mean, it's a blueprint that and you look across most sports. I mean, teams that prioritize culture and chemistry and collective and team defending. You rarely do you see the other way. I mean, what kind of programs do you see that are, just attack minded only and have a bunch of guys in and out and are a bunch of superstar? I mean, those teams don't win over the time. They win here and there. So it's the collective. It's the DNA of how we go about things. It's the respect of one another. The team is the star. It always has been. Although we have stars within the team, it's never bigger than the team. And so when you're able to hold each other and those guys accountable for the things they need to do and play important roles. I know you guys have seen Work the Weight, and there's piano players and carriers. It's been an important part, and everyone knows what their role is and executes it and embraces it. So I think that's been a really big part of, besides having enough good players, of course you need that, and that winning helps recruit them. But we'll pass Jared on some questionable, talented players for ones that are much more in the DNA of what we love, and I think that's just the backbone of IU soccer.
Time for a couple more, guys.
For JT Harms, right before Sam's goal, we kind of made a big sprawling save when they got in one-on-one. I guess, what did you kind of make of that moment and its overall performance in keeping the match level before you got the second goal?
Yeah, I mean, JT has been, this is what we were hoping, and his positional play and his IQ as a keeper is fantastic. And his exit on that was really well timed. And he's made those saves, right, guys? I mean, we've said it, we had it in the Maryland game that we ended up tying. he really had it a couple games prior. And then finally it was really the Rutgers game. We called 2 or 3 massive saves and we didn't get the result, but it gave him and the group confidence that we have a keeper capable. We've seen it in training. We just need to see it in the game. And that's what we had again today. Just need to make one play.
Coach, I guess just going off that point, shutout streak of 3 games to start this run. Would you say that's just what this moment brings out of your experienced guys on the back line, or is there any maybe additional factors for like improving this level of play, turning it around?
They're playing at a high level. I mean, they're playing in their peak level, which you need, and the games are tighter. So historically, you see a lot more shutouts in these rounds, across the board. But certainly in our history, we've been really good about making it difficult for teams to find goals. And so I think that is a common thread, yes, throughout all of our teams. And again, you can play a great defensive game and win 2-1. It might be a wonder goal or kind of a fluke goal, but generally speaking, we're not giving up many chances. And the ones that they're getting, we've been really good at one, helping or covering or making the save.
All right, we'll go ahead and move on to players.
Thanks, guys. Thank you.
Hey. All right, guys, Patrick McDonald joins us. 5 minutes.
Hey, Patrick, congrats on the win. I guess for you, what was it just like kind of going back to your hometown? Heard from Coach that there was a lot of people, they're kind of supporting you. What was that moment like for you to kind of be back where you kind of had your roots from?
It was awesome. I couldn't have asked for a better Elite Eight matchup, and to do it in my hometown is really special. And to have a tremendous support group. I had about 10, 15 family members and about 80 friends just from around the area. So it was really special to be able to win and for us to pull off a great performance like that in front of that crowd. And the UNCG, they're a good team. They've been good all season, and they're really building something. So to knock them off, it was tremendous. And but yeah, it was really special.
Patrick, sorry I'm so dark. I was at the match, so I'm in a parking lot now.
All good.
Can you expand on that? I got some pictures of you guys over there, celebrating and lifting Sam up. What was that like to just be able to celebrate and with your teammates and with the crowd? Can you expand on that a bit?
It was awesome. Yeah, we came out a little slow in the second half, and they had a lot of chances. And for us to kind of put the dagger in them later in the second half was a good moment. And it felt like we had done the job at that point, but we still knew we had 25 minutes of hard work cut out for us, and to be able to celebrate with the team was really special. And then that was right in front of a lot of friends and family, so it meant a lot, especially to get the assist.
Hey, Patrick, just going back to sort of playing in front of your hometown, Coach Yeagley mentioned that UNCG was one of the teams that was recruiting you. Why did you pick Indiana when you were kind of making the decision when you could have stayed home?
For me personally, I had nothing but respect for UNCG, and I always knew it was going to be a good option for me if I chose to go there. But for me, it was less about the school or the soccer and more about getting out of Greensboro. I lived in Greensboro for 18 years, and I was ready for something new. And I knew they were building something special around the 2021 year. So it was a tough decision, but I'm happy I made the decision to be a player at Indiana, and I haven't regretted a moment of it. But the main reason was definitely just to get out of Greensboro and see a different part of the country.
Just to kind of go on towards that goal that you had, or that Sam had, that you assisted, when you kind of fed him, what were you kind of hoping that he was going to do after that, and kind of just your perspective on Sam's goal?
Well, once I slipped him through, and I think this goes for anyone, once you slip Sammy through, no one's going to catch him. He's the fastest guy on the field in any given game. So I knew he was going to beat the guy and get a one-on-one with the keeper. And I just was like in my head, I was like, please score, please score, please score. And he did, and it was awesome. And the celebration matched the goal. So it was really special.
Patrick, you came in the same class as Sam. How would you just describe his personality?
He's a really upbeat, positive guy. He's always got a big smile on his face. He's always having a laugh with everybody. But when the time comes, he gets serious, and that's something that I admire about him, is him to be able to flip that switch from a good joking guy, and then once the warm up comes around, he's locked in, focused. So it's a cool personality to be around.
Time for a couple more.
Todd Yeagley just talked about how competitive Sam is. I mean, would you agree with that? Is there anything that comes to mind, I guess, from practices or, just things off the field that kind of speak to his competitiveness?
No doubt, he's competitive in every walk of life. Whatever he's doing, he always wants to be number one and be a winner, and it shows every game because he's always obviously he scores goals, but when it's time to defend, he's going to work harder than anyone out there. He's going to give 110% on the defensive end and likewise on the offensive end. So for him to recover and pick off players and make a 30-yard recovery run, take the ball and draw a foul, it just really motivates the team and gives us a ton of energy.
Time for one more.
Hey, Patrick, congratulations once again. Todd mentioned you're about 5 minutes away from UNC Greensboro in the stadium. Do you have any distinct memories going to a certain match as a fan and anything that sticks out?
Yeah, I do. I've been to a number of games throughout the years, and one that sticks out in particular was 2019, and they played against Appalachian State, and that's where my parents went to school. So it was obviously I grew up a huge App State fan. And obviously they were playing UNCG, so it was a tough game for me to choose a side. And I was also talking to the coaches at App State. Those were two of my options as well to play at school. So that was probably my fondest memory of a game. And that was pretty special to see.
All right, thanks, Patty.
Thank you, guys.
JT's gonna jump on here. Another 5 minutes with arms.
Thanks, Austin.
Hello, how we doing?
Hey JT, congrats on the win. I guess for you, there was that big save you made just before Sam's goal. That was the second one. When they kind of were slipped in one-on-one, what did you kind of see in that moment to kind of make that save?
Yeah, that's a team with a lot of attacking threat. We knew that going into the match, and we knew that what we had to look for. They're good at combining in the final third, and so I knew that I had to be alert and ready to come off my line if need be. And in that moment, my line held a very good line. And we were strong, and they slipped through, and I was able to make a play. But overall, I thought it was a great defensive performance, and I'm glad we could weather the storm.
Sorry, I'm so dark. I was the only one at the match covering, so I'm in a parking lot right now, so I apologize. But what have you done lately? You've obviously nailed the job down. You were competing with Pratt for most of the year, but you've seized the job now, been red hot. Has there been anything that's changed in the way you've been playing goalie recently?
No, I don't think there's any big changes. I think it's just settling into the role, simplifying my game, and just working with my teammates, letting them make plays when need be, and then when I'm called upon, being there. In my opinion, I'm playing with 4 All-Americans in front of me, so they make my job quite simple. So no, I'm glad that we could get into the form we are now at the time of the season that it is, and hopefully we can continue that.
JT, I know you haven't been around Malone as long as some of your other teammates, but I guess just what has stood out to you the most about just being his teammate?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, funny enough, I knew Malone back in the Columbus Crew Academy, so I had some memories with him, and I always knew him as a workhorse. He's a guy who he always goes in and gets the job done, doesn't overcomplicate things, and he's very humble. So, as a teammate of Malone's and a roommate as well, I know him as a hardworking kid, a humble, lead by example type of player, and a kid you want to go to battle with.
What all just went into the decision to leave Duke, and why was kind of Indiana the place that you wanted to come?
Yeah, it was a bit of unfortunate timing at Duke, mixed with some other things. I wasn't entirely happy. I wanted more, and going into the portal was a leap of faith. But I'd spoke with Indiana just a little bit during the recruiting process out of high school, and then when they came back around in the portal, I knew that was where I wanted to go. It's a school with a fantastic campus, but better yet, a fantastic soccer program. The Yeagleys have put together a dynasty, and it's a tradition of excellence, and that's why we are where we are right now. So close to home, great team, great culture. Incredibly grateful I made that decision.
I just want to kind of get your. Sorry, Jared, go ahead.
You mentioned playing with 4 All-Americans on the back line, but just having Muni and Joey there in the middle there, just how much comfort does that bring you, knowing that you have those two guys who can who are kind of everywhere, and you can always trust in them.
Yeah, it means everything. The whole team feeds off that confidence from those two. We know they're going to shut down some of the best defenders in the country, and they're going to limit teams to very minimal chances. So I know that realistically, I'm only going to have 3 or 4 moments that I'm going to have maybe be called upon, but we just got to be ready and feed off of that. And then, what they bring on the other side of the ball when we're attacking, they start, the play. I thought today they did great to start the build and open up the field. So, very multidimensional players and 2 fantastic program players.
I just want to kind of get your perspective on the goal from Malone in that first half. It was a really well hit strike by him. His first of the year, I guess, kind of 2 things on that. From a distance, kind of how did you see that on the pitch? And then what do you think that's going to mean to him to get that first of the year in this kind of bigger match?
Yeah, seeing it on the pitch, I couldn't believe it. My eyes, I couldn't believe what was going on. Right away, I thought back to Thierry Henry at Arsenal. I don't know if you guys ever seen that goal, but very special and very similar. So if you haven't seen that, I would look that up. But I was in disbelief. That's a special moment, and that's a moment that wins you big games. So in a player like that, he puts in all the work. A lot of what he does on the field goes unsung. He's a player who's up and down, makes tackles, maybe not always gets the goal or assist, but today I'm so happy for him, and I'm glad that he could be awarded with that goal.
One more.
You mentioned, I guess, are you roommates with Malone, and what is he like off the field?
Yeah, off the field, he's a very disciplined kid, great guy. He's a family man. He's got a big family, and I'm sure he'd tell you all about it. But he just a good kid, quiet, really smart. Always on top of his schoolwork. He's I believe a computer science major, so he's pretty sharp. But no, he's a good kid, and I'm happy I can call him a teammate and a brother.
All right, thanks, JT.
Thank you, guys.